321, I'm on scene. I'll be assuming Caroline Street Command. I got a 2.5-story wood occupied multiple dwelling. I got heavy fire from the second floor, Charlie side. I have an exposure on the Delta side. We have one line stretch not in operation yet. Primary searches are underway. Status of the fire is doubtful. One passing command. I'm on the first line. Be advised, we're on scene. 2-story wood frame. I got heavy fire from the Alpha side.
Hello, fans of the Volley Chief. Welcome to this exciting new episode. I have a special guest tonight, so listening to me now for a few months, you're aware that I have my brother Tommy in the fire service, but this would be the other side of the coin, my other brother. So Anthony grew up across the street from my grandparents in Derby. His dad was a member of the Eagles in Ansonia, so Anthony migrated to the Eagles and has been with the Eagles for a very long time now. I'll give you a chance for him to get some of his bio, but he's the other brother, or as my grandfather would refer to it, the other grandson, or commonly his loving nickname in our family has always been Looney Tunes, hence the title of this episode. So, Ant, go ahead and give us a little bit of an introduction.
Anthony Delucia. I've been a member of the Ansonia Fire Department since 1995, currently an assistant chief, and a member of the Storm Engine Company since 1995. Currently, I'm not quite sure what currently it is, but I am going and drive a fire truck. I know that.
Right. So, as I mentioned, Anthony kind of grew up in our family, living across the street from my grandfather. He, he was at my wedding. He's my, him and my brother are closer in age, so it's kind of like my second older brother. I learned a lot of good things from Tommy growing up, and most of the bad things I learned from Anthony. We always laugh and say one of the things that we loved about Anthony was he got out of school an hour after us. We got out at 2:30, he got out at 3:30, but he was usually home before us. So it was a lot of, and then we won't even go over the bench at St. Mary's. We know that,
I kept it warm.
That was, yeah. Yeah, tell us a little bit about the Eagles. So again, like I've mentioned before, in this area of the country, the state, all the volunteer firehouses are named, and I think that out of a lot of them, the Eagles have one of the more interesting names because they are the Eagle Hose Company number 6. And why don't you take us down that road?
Well, I think I heard you say in one of the other ones, it came from a parade carriage that they needed. It was written on there, so they grabbed it. I believe it was New Jersey. Then it went to the FDNY, and then it ended up in Ansonia. And like nowadays, the Eagle Hose was too cheap to spend the money to change the lettering and the numbers and so on and so forth. So I believe it was just the Ansonia Fire Department or something called that way when we first started in August 24th, 1871.
And for the history, Ansonia and Derby were actually one at one point, and Ansonia was referred to a lot by people in Derby as the borough. So even to this day, I've heard guys say like, "Oh, we're in the borough," and that's why the firehouses in Ansonia don't come into play till the later 1800s, because throughout the early mid 1800s, it was still under the flag of Derby, if you will. And the Eagles, I think, hands down, I talked to Timmy Willis last week. I said that I think the Eagles is probably one of the most perfect volunteer firehouses left. When was it built?
Yeah, I mean, it's that building we're currently in is 1904. We moved twice before then. We were in a one-story wooden building on Liberty Street, North Main Street. Then we moved to where the flagpole is now. If anybody's familiar with the Eagle Hose, there was a building there, and we were there.
And then take us through the Ansonia Fire Department. How many companies? How many members? About what your year is like?
5 companies. Each individual ones encompasses the Ansonia Fire Department, and there's, I don't know each company what they have in it, but there's probably 25 real active firefighters now. I mean, obviously years ago it was a lot more, but times change, things change, and here we are. Now we rely on mutual aid from the Valley for anything major, or sometimes just simple things where you need help.
Right, and Ansonia and Derby are kind of mirror communities. They're both bedroom communities. They're both old mill towns, and a lot of multifamily, 3 woods. Everything here is made of wood. There's an occasional, heavy timber or older factory thrown in, but it's either ordinary wood frame. The New England triple decker or the Queen Anne type Victorian are kind of our bread and butter.
Yep, South Cliff Street, North Cliff Street, Atwater Avenue in Derby, Caroline Street, all that stuff was in Derby. Those were all where the rich people lived, with all the big houses, nice wooden interiors. 150 years ago, the valley was something.
Yeah, and now look what we're left with.
Now we are.
You guys are making the rounds right now on the internet. You had a with 3 alarm,
That good.
correct?
2. I'm not sure where the 3 came from, but it was 2.
Okay, so 2 alarm. I saw it somewhere on the internet. It was 3, but
Yeah, no.
you said, you never know when you're making the rounds on the internet if it's good or bad. But this one is positive. You had, so again, we mentioned Ansonia. One of the things, Ansonia was started because it was alongside of a river. They had great water, so the mills popped up. One of the biggest mills was the Ansonia Copper and Brass, correct?
Yep, and the Farrell Court. Yep.
And the Farrell Corporation were there. Large, old industrial complex right along the river. I mean, God, I couldn't even tell you how many times we've gone to fires in those buildings at this point.
When it was active, we were probably there. Probably when I was there, once every couple months, along with the latex foam that we, just
That's a perfect another episode, right? We could do
got a lot of
latex foam.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, roof fires, pretty much roof fires. They did a lot of casting. Casting shops would catch on fire. Big electrical fires. Yeah, and before, obviously early 40s, 50s, 60s, when it really was rolling, there was a lot more fires in there. I mean, I have scrapbooks full of it all, always on fire and burning it. So,
we always laugh because when.
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead. Yep.
No, years ago, the Ansonia Fire Department was able to handle it all themselves, so I'm not really sure too much of that mutual aid came into effect. But, like we said before, nowadays, everybody gets involved.
Yeah, but I hate to say this, my opinion of that has been changing lately because actually you're part of the reason. If you look, how many of those old photos do we have of fires in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s? Everyone's still there. There's Eagle Homes jackets in Derby.
You are correct. I mean, we have a lot of stuff. Derby and Ansonia. I guess Derby and Ansonia pretty much played well together for the last 70 years. Ansonia's kind of been
I think
out a little bit around, but we're making our way back.
I guess it's those old factories though that made our communities. I mean, they're sadly they're gone. I mean, there's Farrell's is still here, but it's obviously nothing what it was like in its heyday. In Derby, there's really no industry left. There's a few. The old Hull Die is still there. 34 that corridor, the north of downtown still has a few, but most of the industry is long gone, and now we're left with what's left. Farrell had another factory in Derby that got taken down. It's a Home Depot now. It didn't go the way of the torch, as a lot of older factories have in the area. But you guys are still dealing with what's left of the Farrell company and the Ansonia Copper and Brass. So now we're sitting here that obviously we record a few days, but we're looking at, where are we? February 4th. So it was Friday night, February 2nd. So a few days ago, you guys were dispatched down to the old Copper and Brass factory for a reported fire. So walk us through that. Where were you? What did it come in as? I wasn't paying attention. I was getting ready to go out to dinner.
A couple of us were actually on a rather another not unusual call, but something that we don't usually do. A kid was eating his pizza on the bridge on Myrtle Avenue and East Street, and he dropped his phone above the river. So instead of just leaving the phone in the river, he decided to jump. Well, he jumped on the ledge, and now he couldn't get off. So yelling for help, whatever. Our ladder truck, our rescue truck, and a couple of guys went. We threw a 14-foot ladder down, and he was able to get up. So I left, and I was just coming up Hill Street here, and I got a phone call and said, hey, because some reason in Ansonia, our police department always goes first. I don't understand how this works, but so be it. So someone called me and said, "Hey, the PD's going over to the offices on Liberty Street. A lady, one call for a lady sees a fire in the building." So I spin around. I call a couple guys that were already on the air. I said, "Hey, start heading down that way." And then on Northwest dispatched us for a one call or possible fire in the building.
And obviously there was.
Obviously, yeah, I really didn't see much. I went down North Main Street, looked up. I didn't see anything. I said, "Well, let me start Derby out their ladder truck, get it in here, in case it is something." So I called Northwest, and I said, "Hey, dispatch us Derby's ladder for," I said, precaution. Now, who knew it would be something. I said, start them out early. Let's get going. So one of our other assistant chiefs, we kind of pulled up together. He came down Liberty Street. I came across 3rd Street. I went down Liberty Street the wrong way. And yeah, we had a fire in the building. And our PD thought they could do something with a dry powder. So that didn't work.
The old cop. I always say you never see a fire truck pull up at a reported bank robbery and all the firemen get off and run in to see what they could do. Right? We know that we're not equipped for it. We know that we're not trained for it. But how many times you see the cops try to run into a large fire with a little fire extinguisher thinking they're going to make a difference?
Well, I just saw it Friday night. And what I don't understand is, and I probably should watch what I say, we were just with them. They knew we were there. We weren't far behind them. But that is what it is. I could go 3 hours on complaining about. So, yeah, I little couple. Well, they hit it. It didn't do anything. Maybe fire out of like one window, and then all of a sudden, as fires go, it just kind of took off. I saw it coming out of 3 windows. I said, "Well, the building's a large building. I mean, 2-story office building. The fire right now is in the 1-story part." I said, "Well, let me call for a second alarm." I called for a second alarm. Then it come out another 3 windows. I said, "Well, let's get another ladder truck." So I didn't want to drain Seymour with everything they had because they already station coverage us and sent us RIT. So I called for truck 3 out of Shelton. And
Out of Shelton. Now, Tower 7, how you're the Eagles run an engine and tower ladder.
Yeah.
So you had your tower on scene. It's 100 foot, right? 100 foot pierce.
Foot mid mount pierce. Yep. And
okay, and then Derby's running truck 15. So you got 2 tower ladders and a large stick.
Yep.
Coming for this large industrial building.
And nowadays you could get water to them trucks quick, unlike setting up a ladder pipe and doing everything. So we pulled it. Then I said, "Well, let me get on the radio, tell everybody we're not going to enter this. Let's write it off." So we put a no entry out. Our first engine in. Well, I don't know where engine 3 lined up and all this. I didn't see it on the street, but we pulled the 2.5 off engine 6. Started getting in there. Now at this time, it's probably coming out, I don't know, 6 or 7 windows, pretty heavy. We get water. Now 15 was there pretty quick because, I called them a little early, and, the Tracy boys, you can't stop them. So they hammered down across.
No, they're
And he was at the other call, so he was there. So I think he called on the phone and must have told him which way to come in. So which was good because I didn't even have to deal with place here, there, calling, where do you want us to do? What do you want us to do? Which was even good in Ansonia because nobody asked nothing. Our guys knew where to go, what to do, which hydrants to get, so on and so forth. So that was all handled. So we started knocking it down. Part of the roof collapsed. And then we kind of just, surrounded it for a couple minutes. And I said to one of the other assistant chiefs, I said, "I know we said don't go in there, but maybe you could take 1 or 2 guys and just see if it got into the other offices and stuff." Because there was a lot of smoke coming out of it and everything. So they forced a couple of doors went.
Right. So if you look at the main building, the main building's a 2-story, again, it'd be a great like movie set for like an old police station. To me, it looks like. And then the area that was on fire was a 1-story, almost looked like an addition. Like it wasn't the main building.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not really sure about all. I'm getting harassed now because as in the fire service, you could do 20 things right and you wrong. Forever. Buildings was 1800s. Well, I meant the office, the factories. 1948. It was built, so not.
Yeah, it's close, right?
Yeah. So whatever. So yeah. So I was worried.
In the grand time of things.
Yeah, right. My head is. Yeah, my head's moving. And I said, let's get in there. They took a couple guys. Derby went in there. Look, no, you just got a lot of smoke. We don't think it made it in there. We'll just stay where we are. They came back out, and we continued what we were doing. And then we start getting word. Hey,
Nice. No injuries.
no injuries. Nope. It could be this. It could be that. Then the neighbor comes out and says she saw 3 kids in there, or I shouldn't say that. Kids in there. I believe it was 3. She never saw them come out. Well, so now here you go again. It ain't vacant till it ain't
Right. And
so
right.
off. We think, well, we had the fire rooms. Shouldn't be going anywhere. It should be all set. Let's send a couple small crews in there to search things. But that building ain't small. We have a critique tonight. Lessons learned. We probably could have did a couple things a little better, like and everything. But I believe we searched it, slow, methodical. We knew where everybody was. Our accountability was real good. And so, no harm, no foul.
Nice. So, right. It was at the end of the day. No one was hurt. The fire went out. You got some great footage.
Oh,
and
I learned that from.
Well, right. And again, back to the previous topic, growing up with us, Anthony's the one that kind of you went a little bit farther with the photography than Tommy and I. You actually published a book of your fire photos. There's still a few copies out there. It is everybody wants you to bring the website back. We talk about that frequently. Everybody wants the website back.
Yeah, well, you saw what hard time we had getting on here. So how's a website?
Technology is not your strong point.
No, I should have been born a long time ago.
Anything else you want to add?
No. The photography and pictures and Valley history could be another day of Valley fires. I could go on.
Yeah, I want to get Keith, you to come on and do like a fire buff series.
Need a couple them old time Valley fire chiefs to get in here where we were all together.
Yeah, we got Commissioner Parker. I asked Tommy if he wanted to come in with you, surprise you, but he wasn't home yet. So, but we're gonna do. We have Hart coming up. Hart's gonna do a one on the fire alarm boxes.
No, okay.
So that'll be a good one.
Gotta get Tommy DeMarco.
Yes, he actually reached out to me. I said we got to get like Tommy, Louie, like Matasovich, D'Antona, like that. Those guys to sit down and do one.
Tommy could tell a lot of stories.
Yeah, we had a good time.
Nowadays, forget it. All over.
No, you can't do any of that stuff nowadays.
Oh, it's all over with. The fun's done.
Yeah. All right. Well, Ant, thank you for being on this week's episode, and I'm sure I'll probably have you back. Especially, I definitely once I get better with the video stuff, I really want to come down to the Eagles because I keep talking about it. So I hope I'm hyping it up well.
All right. Sounds good.
All right, everyone. Thank you, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button for our YouTube visitors. My YouTube channel's growing, so I thank you. Same thing. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell for the notifications. Everyone, have a great night. Stay safe, and we'll see you later.
All right. Take care.
FD1's back in service. Commands terminated.